Colours are 2x2 formation. Red change now. We go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action. It's go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. There's a G3 car.
Drop downhill. They head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill. Put it back from the inside line. Yes, he did. Through he goes.
Good evening and welcome to round 4 of AOR's GT3 Tier 1, the Fast Speedy Boys. I'm RageF1 and I'm joined by Tim. How you doing, buddy?
Good evening, mate. Yeah, I'm feeling good. My voice has finally recovered from 3 hours of commentating last week, but I'm back in the game.
Good stuff. It's nice to hear. Round 4, Silverstone, very wet. How do you rate this track in the rain? It seems to always be wet on this game, I swear.
Yeah, to be fair, I actually prefer it in the rain than I do in the dry. Don't know why. Probably just the only time I've ever had a race where I really gained positions was here in the wet. But yeah, it's been a bit of a recurring theme this season, hasn't it? I think we've had 3 races out of 4 that have all been pretty soggy. Pretty soggy
out there, definitely. I mean, I know it was meant to be mixed conditions. I saw it in the deets, so yeah, I'm not surprised. Whether the weather stays for as long as it does is the main point of conversation. I'm sure it will, but who knows? As many W's as I could get into that sentence, I swear. Right, next up, I think we better talk about some deets that have been going on behind the scenes. If you joined us last week, you may have realised or may have watched a bit of a scene going on for 3rd place. It has actually come to a head, I must say. So it looks like the points and position have been removed from Chris Warner. So he wouldn't have finished 3rd. He's actually disqualified from the Misano event that we had last week, and also the person that could have got 3rd place has also been disqualified, and disqualified for not serving their quali ban. Therefore, their results in the race were falsified and aren't legit, so they've been removed. Obviously, that caused a bit of controversy with the guys who it involved, but if you think about it, we've got, 7 splits, maybe more. The same rule has to apply to everyone. So if we do one for one and one for another, I'm sure we'll have more problems on our hands. So best result all round, I think, ish, for the quali ban to go for the people. For the results to be null and void for those who didn't serve their quali ban. So make sure if you do have one of those, you don't do a qualifying lap. It does mean that the results are slightly different from last time out. Crazy enough. We have Luke Whitehead on the podium in 3rd place. He was 4th. Joshua Allen in 4th place. Samir in 5th, jumping up from where he was. Nico still keeps the win. Remy Papin in 2nd place. That hasn't changed. But yeah, drama, Tim.
Yeah, it was a bit of a the chat last week was talking about it a fair bit. I think it was actually one of the chat that pointed out to us in the booth that they thought that one of the drivers shouldn't be qualifying, and as it turns out, both of them shouldn't have been qualifying. So it was I think there's probably some very annoyed drivers, but also, as you did say, it's been a case of everyone is being hit with the same kind of bans and penalties. It's happened all down through the tiers, and so there is no further sort of any extra points being no extra license points being added to them for this offence. There is also no extra penalties being applied to them. It is just simply a fact that they were completely disqualified from Misano. So yeah. Bit of a change up. So basically all the commentating we did on that incredible battle for third place kind of all went out the window.
Never mind. We shouted about what was in front of us, eh? That's all you can do.
We did indeed.
It does mean, though, that we do have some slightly different results from last week, like I just read out, and we do have some slightly different information in the standings, possibly. So Luke Whitehead still running away, 279 points, but not completely. Jardier with 224 points, close behind. I like to say close behind, because we'll keep it somewhat close. Remy Papin, unfortunately, a gulf behind. A whole gulf. We like to be away from the French as much as possible, us these Brits. That's why we keep the water in between us. Anyway, he's in third. Mattia de Campo, even further away. He's 150 points in fourth place. Conrad Ciata in fifth place with 144 points. Going back outside fifth, that was a joke about the French. Don't worry. Valentine Barrier is in 6th place. 7th place is Aidan Walsingham. 8th is Nicodem, the winner from last time out. 9th is Luciano. And 10th, Samir Foch. Holding up the back end with the old guard. On from there, it gets confusing. You can find the results on the admin page of Apex Online. I'm sure if you're involved, you'll have access and you should be able to see where people are. Well, we have 60 minutes of qualifying of racing, with only 15 minutes of qualifying here at the very wet Silverstone. Tim, predictions?
Wet. Well, looking at it now, it's obviously looking at the weather report. At the moment it's saying there is no wind and just constant rain, so the likelihood of this rain shifting is pretty slim. But this is only qualifying, so when we come over to the main race, the weather may change again. Essentially, the idea is it's designed to be a bit of a simulation. So the idea is it's qualifying on a Saturday, as is in the same as in real life GT3 racing, and then the Sunday is the race. So you never know. The weather in between may change. That's why sometimes we see everyone get very excited with a lovely dry qualifying, and they all sit there on the grid and then suddenly cry as the rain falls from the sky and their setups immediately have to be changed.
Yes.
But yeah, if it stays this way, it's going to be wet the whole way through, isn't it? 60 minutes of very, very wet racing. Silverstone is one of those circuits where it does give us pretty good wet racing, to be fair. I mean, luckily, being a country that is predominantly wet, they have at least sorted out the drainage at Silverstone.
They have, yes. It's very British, isn't it? Very British indeed. Wet weather, talk about the weather, insult the French. Wet weather, leave the EU. Wet weather, talk about the weather, complain. It's pretty much all we do, to be honest. But anyway, Arthur Patat is running around at the moment. Nowhere, because they're all on outlaps. We are on board with him. I will go onto the helicam so we get a bit of an outside view. Who's going across the line first? That would be interestingly enough.
That is Abe Santima, car number 14.
And they will go first for albeit 2 seconds, as Arthur Patat will come past and snatch the time away, he says. He does, by 3/10. There's the gap. Who's behind then? Let's see the times coming. Frederick Gutmann comes across the line in 3rd place. Nicodem, last time winner, slots into the top with 5/10 worth of change. And that's about it for now. Where is the man of the hour this season? He is in 29th place at the moment because he hasn't put a time in. Luke Whitehead normally does 2. Typical Luke. 2 quali 2. We'll see if he does that. The 2-run Luke. But it looks like he's on a fast one now. Going to cross the line in a second. Alex Tolagrosa has got a disqualification. That's probably a quali ban. Not too sure, but he is out. Luke Whitehead, he is doing the 2. Or he just went late. I'm not too sure.
Good lap there by Jardier. Oh, no, there you go. Immediately taken away by Ciata. Going to be interesting to see what cars do well this evening in these obviously wet conditions. It's been a little while. This is the first time we've been here with the new BOP and some of the new cars. So it should be interesting to see how everybody gets on.
Definitely. We're on board at the moment with Luke Whitehead. He's just going down the... Yes. I think it's the Wellington. No, it's not. It's the Dunlop. I don't know. Into Stowe. Is it Stowe? Stowe or Cops? We're not very good at this, are we, mate? It's Stowe, isn't it?
To be fair, there's a lot of corners here. There's a lot of ridiculous names, isn't there? So, I mean, I think it's fair enough to sometimes get a little bit confused with it all. There's a lot of tracks to try and remember them all, and it takes a little while.
It was Stowe. It was.
Let's see where Luke Whitehead is. Yes.
He's just coming through, I think, into club. Down the Hamilton! Across the line. That would be the line.
It still confuses me. Yeah, the old line, isn't it? They say that shows our age, doesn't it, a little bit, that we know that that's the old pit straight.
Well, it's the F1 line, isn't it?
Do we still use that in F1?
Yeah. Formula 1 line.
As a non-F1 viewer, I'm a little bit lost when it comes to things like that. I know he's in loop now, coming onto Aintree, and then back onto the Wellington Straight.
Here's the Welly.
I definitely don't have a map in front of me. That's not what I've got. But you know what? I feel a lot better because actually, when you sometimes look at the insides of a fully clad out race cars, you will see that sometimes they will have a race driver who does this track and has practiced it all weekend, you know, and has raced there before. They will have an image of the track in front of them in the car somewhere.
Yes.
You know, I see it quite frequently, actually. It's quite surprising. I always thought, no, I don't know exactly where they are, but it's just there, and I don't really know why. But it's in the car, as I don't imagine you have enough time to look at the steering wheel while you're absolutely hammering it around. Oh, there you go. Whitehead putting in a decent time, puts himself in second place.
Yeah, not quite faster than Jards, though. Looks like Jards got a second lap in there. You saw him just delete his car in front of Luke Whitehead back to the pits. Surprised Luke hasn't done the same. He thinks maybe I'll go for another one. He's got Valentine Barry there for a little bit of company, maybe down the hangar straight. Might be able to get a little bit of time off him. In the slipstream, but these cars don't really slip too well. I mean, they're okay. It's Lamborghini for Lamborghini. As Valentine Barry moves out the way, then no slip for you then, Sonny Jim, as he goes down towards Stowe again. Let's jump on board with some others, because otherwise people will get bored of just looking at this guy. Nicodem is currently in 5th place, 4 tenths up at the moment. Is he going for turn 1? Yes, he is.
Yes.
That's right, 4 tenths up through turn 1. That's ridiculous. Okay, he must have got a really good run. Coming off the back of a win, then, for Apex 1. Was he going across? No, he wasn't. I don't think he is. He's not. He's,
no, that wasn't turn 1. No, he was down through club.
He was.
You're on about car number 997, Nicodem.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
He was, you're right.
A lot of it looks the same in the wet, so I think we could be forgiven for that one.
Yeah,
it all becomes a big grey haze.
We'll go on board with him. I think that's what my years are going to be from 60 onwards. Just grey haze. A grey haze of Old Spice, alcohol.
I think mine will be carpal tunnel and continuing balding.
I love it, you just go to like personal injuries.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, the carpal tunnel's already here. It's the joys of being a mechanic and a nerd. So, I spent all day building up the carpal tunnel to come home and relax with a mouse and keyboard. Nico
displaces Jardier with a 206.4. I do the same. I work on cars and get tennis elbow, and then sit at a desk all day and just add to that tennis elbow to make it a lovely conjoined tennis. Bit of horror. Why do they call it tennis elbow? I guess because tennis players, right? I ain't played tennis in my life.
It's to do with the repetitive movement, isn't it? I think plasterers get it a lot as well because they're sort of doing the swiping arm kind of thing.
The old
oh, there we go. Someone in the chat is saying the map inside the car is for communicating corner numbers to the engineers. Fair enough. That makes sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it? If you're in a race, to be fair, the drivers should know, like they're going through turns 1, 2, 3, because they sit and revise. If you ever watch Formula 1, if you ever watch the Formula 1, I know you don't, that's why I whispered it, they all of them know exactly what turn number it is. They don't know names always. Majority of the time it's numbers. I'm sure it's very similar for these GT drivers when they're preparing, right, in real life, not in sim.
I mean, I can understand it on a really, really big circuit, somewhere like, well, actually, no, to be fair, because then you couldn't have a map big enough for the actual Nürburgring, could you?
No.
A little bit of that's the news, isn't it? Supposedly, the full Nordschleife is coming to ACC. That there is rumours. I think it might have actually been Jards that might have leaked that. I think almost by accident. I seem to believe.
Not surprised.
But it would be pretty cool if it does come to it. That'd be pretty fantastic, and that would certainly be an interesting race to put together.
Insane race. Talking of insane races, me and my good friend just booked our 2024 tickets to 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Indeed. Going to be excited to
first
watch
year
that.
with GT3s as well,
Yes,
isn't it? 'Cause it's always been
GTE. Pick that up.
Yeah.
Out the window.
Yeah. Bit of a shame to wave goodbye to some of those lovely Porsches, but you know the GT3 Porsches are just as lovely.
They're so similar. It's like slightly longer gear ratios, a little bit different aero, but apart from that, it's just get the GT3s. How much money does that save? The development on another car is just crazy. I don't know. It's good. It's a good move, I think, for motorsport. It should encourage a few more teams to be like, yeah, I think we'll enter. We'll go for it. So we'll see how that turns out. Conrad Ciata then 7/10 up. This will be pole position for the moment. 3.33 to go. 3 minutes on the clock. Conrad Ciata then provisional. Luciano in second place. Chris Warner. I've got a funny feeling he has served his penalty now, obviously, because he was disqualified from last time. So he can take time today in his lovely Apex 1 liveried McLaren, coming across the line to start a lap at least. Jardier then 3/10 up on his last time. Whereabouts is he? It's really hard to see in the rain, isn't it? I think he's going through... is going into the loop. That's the one. Down to Aintree.
Yep, that's the loop.
Yeah. It's really strange because we'll keep banging on about it. F1 boy, so you get confused where you are. You're like, oh, you're starting out. No, you're just halfway through. Into Brooklands and Luffield. Have you managed to go to Silverstone yourself?
Yes. When have I been there? What have I done? I'm trying to think now. I don't think I've ever actually been there on a race weekend. I've done a couple of different things, but never done an actual race weekend at Silverstone. But no, I've just seeing in the chat.
Any manhole covers?
There are no manhole covers on here, so the Ferraris are safe.
Yeah, we live in the sticks, Presman, so we don't have access to the high-speed internet. I probably could give you 1080p, but I wouldn't be able to run it so it looks as good, if you know what I mean. I'd have to really lower the bit rate, and it will be pixelated and artifacty, and it won't be very nice, especially in this rain. So yes, you've got to deal with the 720, but it should be a little bit clearer for people. I know that doesn't make sense, but I've compared and I've done some analysis, and it does look better in 720. I know that's hard to believe, but it does. But yeah, it becomes a talking point. Everyone asks, why no 1080p? And I do get it. It's frustrating, isn't it?
It can be one of those things. Obviously, if you do push for 1080p, but then obviously you've got a lower, so you almost end up, you're looking on your PC at a better image, essentially, but it's being broadcast to everyone else at lower quality, if that makes any sense. It can be a bit strange. And it's better to be consistent rather than stuttery and juddery and losing bits and pieces left, right, and centre. There's nothing worse than that. Or having to run it with sort of like no shadows or anything like that. You know, no one appreciates a no shadow race. It's always one of these things that whenever I do watch any streams and someone has removed all the shadows, which to be fair, does free up a massive amount of FPS and you know, computing power to run everything else. But yeah, it's one of those things that I always think to myself, come on, please put the shadows back. We need a little bit of some reflections and things. It's always nice to see.
Otherwise it looks like race room.
Saying that, you know, whenever I stream, my computer usually ends up getting rather warm. The poor old graphics card, as you know yourself, is usually there screaming, holding itself together just about.
We're running a 1080, so we're in the dark ages, guys, but we're still running at 130 frames. So, you know, and I'm on Epic everything, so we're turned up to the max graphical wise. I've got view distance down, and mirrors are down slightly, but I mean, still 120 frames in the rain with a full grid. So what would you prefer? I mean, I can't do anything else to get the graphics better on this game, at least. It's looking the best it can do. Unless I put on... I don't know, I don't think I can improve it. That's the best we can get it. Qualifying is done. It's done. The flag is out. Luke Whitehead is a 10th up. He needs 1/10 to claim pole position. Where is he now? He's going down towards, I think, the loop-ish way. I think he's going down to Hamilton. Yes, he is.
See if there's anyone else on big improvements. Podens with a pretty big increase. Avalese is 0.4 up on his time. Steve Favre as well, 0.4 up on his time. No, Valentine Barrier all the way down in 24th place at the moment.
Not looking good for Barrier. Looking good at all.
No, not what he's going to be wanting at this stage in the championship. The barrier running in 6th overall in the championship, so he'll definitely want to improve.
At the moment, Aidan Walsingham might be on for a shock improvement here. Luke Whitehead's not found that 10th he needs. He might be starting in 2nd place. Still on the front row. Aidan Walsingham is on the bubble for a 10th, if he can try and hold on to it. Here comes the man to threaten then, Luke Whitehead. He's down to 10th. He's not going to do it. I think we're going to crown Conrad Ciata the pole position man for this session as Luke races to the line, tries desperately but doesn't manage to get it. We'll go on board with Aidan Walsingham because I think he's the only person inside the top 5 that might be able to threaten for a position here. Whether the rain's got worse, I don't know. We're on a full wet track. Jardier is still out as well. He's down in 7th place, but no improvement at the moment. Aidan has got a 10th. So he should be able to move himself up to 2nd place. He could be beating the teammate here. Aidan Walsingham is on for an absolute blinder. Oh, he loses a little bit of time coming out the final corner, and that has cost him. It might cost him the whole position. I don't think he'll improve. No, he doesn't. That final corner out into the rumble strip. Lost a bit of grip on the rear end, and that has cost him dearly. Here comes Jards then. Can he improve? 7th place at the moment, running to the line. He goes up to 5th. He gets himself onto the 4th row of the grid. Good stuff from 7th. Jardier improves. Any further moves down the back? Alejandro, I think, and Mattia De Campo crossing the line. That is it for qualifying. Well, there you go. Wet weather. Conrad Ciata on pole.
Interesting to see the Porsche up there in pole position. I mean, obviously, Ciata a very, very fast boy nonetheless, but still very interesting to see that car on pole position. When you look at the other cars around it as well, it's a nicely mixed front grid. I was going to say, actually, most of the top 10 is absolutely full of Aston Martins. And I did wonder if maybe, as we've said a few times before, the stability and sort of predictability of the Aston Martin is probably going to do absolute wonders for these drivers out here this evening in these wet conditions, and looking like it's gonna stay wet for the race itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it said wet conditions, so whether that means indefinitely, I don't know, but for at least for the next 30 minutes, it's full-on rain, at least. Just medium rain, not heavy, just rain. So yeah, looks like we're going to stay where we are. It's going to be a wet Silverstone for 1 whole hour. Conrad Ciata will lead the pack away. Joining him on the front row will be Luke Whitehead. Just a little bit further back, we've got Nico in the on the 2nd row of the grid with Aidan Walsingham joining. See if we can go on a helicam. There you go. Jardier then will be on the 3rd row with Luciano. Just behind him in 7th place will be Nowicki and Franek Briat in the 4th row, 7th and 8th for them. 9th and 10th then on the 5th is Chris Warner, and then joined by Alejandro. Then going slightly further back, then 6th row of the grid in 11th and 12th is Kevin Niles and Alexandra. He will be, unfortunately, we don't think we've seen Alexandra, that's really hard to say, Alexandra in this season so far, so welcome Alexandra. We have then 7th row of the grid, Mattia De Campo and Christos Podens. Tim, I dare you to say that. Steve Favre and Ellie Debbins in 15th and 16th place. We've got some new names here. Arthur Patat and Anud Hours will be in 17th and 18th place, 9th row of the grid for them. Abe Sentema and Gert Fischer will be on the 10th row there, 19th and 20th for them. Samir Foch and Junko Terminen on the 11th row, 21st and 22nd for them. Skylar Loverink and Josh Waring will be back in 23rd, 24th. 12th row for them. Valentin Barrier and Jose Jimenez will be on the 13th row, 25th and 26th for those guys. Jonas Kraft and Frederick Gutmann, 14th row, 27th and 28th position. Barnabas Fazekas and Jakub Terasuk will be on the 15th row, 29th and 30th position. A little bit further back then, Jentel Van Thelen and Marco Badowski in 16th row of the grid, 31st and 32nd. 17th row then will be Kevin Lejekas and Venci Rashanov in 33rd and 34th. Then we've got 35th, 36th, 37th will be Waterbillen, Noel Hatchie and Alex Torregrossa because of his penalty served. News about Kevin Lejekas, he did ask to go down a split because he's bored of fighting for 30th position, I quote. He wants some interesting racing inside the top 10, which I don't, blame him for. That's what people want to do. They don't always want to be fighting for 30th place, but to keep a grid of 30, you've got to have some people fighting for 30th place.
Yeah, I mean, also the thing is, it's surprising actually to hear someone saying that they want to drop out of Tier 1. Normally, most people are desperate to get into Tier 1.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting to see someone not wanting to be in it. But again, that's the thing. Although they might want to be fighting for the top 10, obviously, if we pop them down into Tier 2, there is the possibility that then they will just be faster than everyone in Tier 2. Unlikely, but they might, end up completely dominating the season. We do see it from time to time. Drivers that sort of they ride that line between tiers. There's almost like they need a 2.5 or sorry, a 1.5 to go between the two. But yeah, someone always has to be at the back, and someone always has to be at the front. And so for this season round, they obviously qualify well enough to be in Tier 1, which is normally what everyone aims for. But obviously slightly disappointed to be racing on a Monday rather than a Tuesday.
Yeah. Mix it up, I guess. Yeah, normally people, like you say, biting at the bit to get into the top split. But yeah, want some more competitive racing in the top split. A little bit more of a chance to get a win. I do understand. Kevin Niles, obviously the fan favourite this afternoon. JF saying Niles for the win. Easy. He's actually P11. Fantastic position there for Kevin Niles. Back to the old school tracks and some of the other drivers come through. Yeah, Alexandre Herbignou, I think that's probably how we're pronouncing it. The 123 car in P12. Give it a shout. Part of the Jean Alesi esports team. Luke Whitehead then, just behind Conrad Ciata. We've not said that very many times this season, have we? I know we always like to talk about it at the very beginning, but predictions? Question mark?
I think it's going to be a bit of an Aston Martin dominated race. Although obviously we've seen Ciata and Whitehead holding onto that front row. Both those cars very unruly beasts in the wet. I think we're going to see sort of this batch of Aston Martins make a real push towards the podium this evening. That's my guess anyway. I'm going to say 2 Astons on the podium.
Wow. Okay, that's a shout right there. Yeah, Conrad Ciata and Luke Whitehead both with very twitchy cars. Got Adam Walsingham in 4th place also with that problem. You've got some big straights, like you say, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Aston Martins inside the top 10. So almost half that top 10 is Aston Martin. So I'm not surprised there. You'll probably have Jardier, Luciano and Nowicki all marching on to get past Adam Walsingham, which could happen quite quickly. And then Luke's got to keep back Nicodem, which is going to be tough. It's all about car control, I guess. Hold on to the positions in the straights A. We'll see what happens. But yes, I think it's going to be tricky for Conrad Ciata to hold on, but I think even trickier for Luke Whitehead. Whether it's going to be 2 Astons, I'm going to say 1, and I'm going to say Nicodem will stay on the podium. I think he'll be 2nd place. I think Luke Whitehead will slowly eke out a win, whether it might be on strategy, we'll see. And I think Adam Walsingham for 3rd for me.
It's a good shout. I think lap 1 is going to be the real one to look at, isn't it? If Ciata can get away enough from Whitehead, that's going to be the big thing here. I think if Nicodem can get the power down and take the fight immediately to Whitehead, that is going to be the thing. It's going to be wet. It's going to be hard to get that zero traction control Lamborghini actually sort of, to grip up and pull away. I think that's going to be the thing. If Nicodem can really keep the pressure on, then that's going to be a chance for Ciata to maybe escape.
You've got to give it a go. You've got to give it a try. Give it your best shots. Otherwise, these guys are going to get stuck very early on, like you say. With the likes of Luciano, isn't it? Yeah, Luciano, Nowicki and Jardier. Really fighting to stay inside that top 5. I think you've got charging bulls of Aston Martins right behind you, whilst the very Italian bulls have got to run away quickly. We'll see how it goes for the Italian bulls, but yeah, tough work ahead, I think, for the Veloce boys. But we'll have to hope and pray they can get away nice and smoothly. Conrad Ciata, though, I think if he can stay out of trouble and keep the threat from behind away from him at the first couple of corners, he might be able to eke out a bit of a gap to not be under threat down the straights. But let's just see what he does. Got to hold on to it. No mistakes, I think, if you're Conrad Ciata. Hold on, no mistakes, otherwise it's death. Death at dawn.
Yeah, I think he needs to get the car 100% in front of Whitehead. He needs to be bumper to bumper with him. He can't have an overlap as they're going to go in towards Maggots and Beckett's. I think he has to hold on to it, and I think if he can hold on to it for the first half a lap and get the car fully in front and get himself confident, get a bit of confidence in how the car's going to feel, then it's going to be his race to lose.
I think so. Well, as always, Tim, hop down towards the bottom end, and do shout if anything crazy happens, and we'll quickly jump back and see if we can see it unfold for ourselves as we see round 4 just about to get underway. Konrad Siata cautiously leads on Luke Whitehead, current champion, reigning 2-time or 3-time champion. He is the man to beat this season. We go green, green, green then. Brilliant start for Luke Whitehead. Aidan Walsingham staying nice and calm. Konrad Siata holds on to the position there. It looks like going into turn 1. Very nice defending there for Konrad. Looking behind, it looks like everyone got through okay, but there is 4x4 going into Maggots and Beckett's. That is a tricky condition to get through, and there is a car going off there into the grass. It looks like, couldn't quite see who it was. Was it Chris Warner or the like? Oh, there's cars off everywhere.
Okay, it was cars 60, 99, 72, 96. There's so many of them going all at once. It's a bit difficult to sort of try and jump back. I think a lot of it was just concertinaing into turns 1 and 2. Lots and lots of wet stuff, but everyone seems to be going. No one has dropped off too badly. No one has returned to the pits. Everyone back up to pace.
It looks like it. We did see quite a few cars off through Maggots and Beckett's. It was very hard for me to stay on the right track, so we saw what was going on. So apologies if you missed the first couple of corners with the front runners, but it is currently Luke Whitehead trailing behind Konrad Siata. Only just, though. He's really, really pushing to stay on the back of that car in the fast bits, because he knows they're probably even on pace down the straight, these two. As the BOP has been worked out, and we are seeing those charging Aston Martins trying to work that car out to get the best out of it. Well, hey-ho, it looks like the 2 Italian cars are actually really chasing down this poor little Porsche. And here we got the Aston Martins squeezing their way behind. We did just see that into the braking zone. Who was that? Was that Jards? Yeah.
Jards and Nicodem, squabbling away. Obviously, to a certain extent, they might be playing the team game a little bit as well. Jardier applying as much pressure as possible to Nicodem. He doesn't want to release him and let him go after his teammate, that is Luke Whitehead. Sort of unofficial teammates, though, this time round, aren't they? Because he's not obviously in the Lambo, and actually there is a team Lambo.
Yeah, I think he's in his own team, Chance, but he is obviously a Veloce driver, as he explained to us. He's been with them for a long time. We didn't know, actually, did we? Because he always normally goes either past the Jardier community team paint or Yas Heat, which I think is a thing that he's involved in. Whether it's, he owns part of it, I'm not too sure. But we've seen him race Yas Heat in endurance and also in AOR Tier 1. So, yeah, maybe next time we speak to him we can ask. I thought it was him and a group of friends that have made that little esports team there that do really well, I must say. But no changes, no disastrous changes inside this top 10. I can't quite see. I think we're okay. Kevin Niles has got himself a position, but he is under threat from Podens. Podens posing a menacing threat there with all of his track limit warnings glistening in the afternoon rain as he does get a little run on him, actually, coming out of Beckett's down towards Stowe. Right on the rear end of that Aston Martin. Such a strong car in a straight line. And there goes Podens straight up the inside into Stowe. He claims himself 10th place. Podens then getting the job done on the man he started on the grid with. So there you go. Must have been a swap around for the two. And look at this. Look at people that... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say the cars that are in the pit. Car number 217, Toro Grosso. We've got DeCampo as well, and Arnaud Hours all in the pits. So whether that is damage sustained on lap 1, not sure, but they've all decided to come into the pits straight away.
Okay, yeah, they are leaving, DeCampo and Toro Grosso. Obviously, Toro Grosso didn't qualify. DeCampo did. Arnold Hours, not too sure why he would be in so early, but there you go. And he's not coming out either, so that might be a retirement. We'll double check in a few minutes' time. We'll find out for
no, he's
sure.
On the move. He's just pulled away. He's just started moving.
Well, you can do some fantastic things on strategy in a full wet race, so I'm not surprised. You might see someone somewhere in the middle pack think, you know what? I'm going to get out of this train, I'm going to get myself some clear air, I'm going to get myself into the top 10 if I really push it, and it can happen. So we'll see if we see any bigger names. The guys like Gert Fischer, Samir Foch, those are the people that I would expect maybe that try it, something different with these wet weather conditions. Nothing to lose, slightly out of those real big points. Might as well see if I can get inside the top 10 and secure myself a fantastic position today. The tyres aren't as important then this time around in the wet. Frank Briat then, currently 8th place, got himself well up inside the top 10, and he's chasing Warner for position there, 7th place.
just seen a little shout out in the chat for Hache. Started in 36th, up to 22nd place already. So massive gains on lap 1. Obviously, full commitment there.
It is. Yes, no, Hache, or Hache, how we're pronouncing it. He is in, 22nd place. What a start. 36th to 22nd. Fantastic. The gates must have opened like Moses as he's crafted his way through, I'm sure. Jardier then in 5th place, trying to get on the back of Nicodem. I'm pretty sure Nicodem was in 3rd, wasn't he? So Walsingham managed to pass. Look at those Lambos hunting down Conrad Ciata for position. They are right on the front. And looks like these Astons just aren't able to turn it on. Do you think it's maybe unable to get the pressure, the tyres up to temp and pressure? It might be something to do with that. I don't know. They seemed mighty fast in qualifying, but the race, different story.
Obviously running probably significantly more fuel during the race as well is going to make a big difference.
Yep, you're right.
But I also think these top 3 drivers are going absolutely flat out, pushing it to the absolute limit straight away. And sometimes that is where the Aston has a weakness. It isn't necessarily able to sort of get as absolute ridiculous lap times, but it is consistency. So over the space of the hour, we may see a big improvement in them, but I don't think we're going to see it in just absolute raw pace, sort of, per lap. I mean, Conrad Ciata already put in obviously the fastest lap of the race as well, but I think these 3 are absolutely gunning for it at the moment. Obviously, Whitehead and Walsingham on the same team. They are the Lambo team. They are Veloce Esports, AOR. They are absolutely pushing for it, and so I'd imagine that Walsingham is not going to over-hassle Whitehead, but it's a good thing to do. You think you can get one of them up behind Ciata, maybe unsettle him ever so slightly, then the other one can go for a move and slow them down, sort of work together as a bit of a team.
I think the Porsche is particularly strong here today. Can't see any other Porsches on the grid, to be honest. We don't have... who was it? Lois. We don't have Lois this afternoon, who was in the Lotus, the gold and black and gold Lotus livery. Normally he would probably be the other Porsche. I don't think we got any others. Can't see any others inside the top 20.
29th place, kind of 95 of
yeah.
Fazekas, and then also 37th place of ours is nap number 901 Porsche as well.
There you go. Oh, we can see Barnabas's paint scheme today, which is nice. Who else was it?
It is a very cool livery.
In the Porsche. Who else was there?
And I was 37th place. I believe it's all white. It's the all white Porsche.
Ah, yes, I remember. Yeah, the Gilles Sports. Very nice. Valentine Barrier in 31st place. Just actually dispatched Rechinov for 30th. What happened with him? My goodness. Badowski in the pit then. But yeah, Valentine Barrier, what a fall from form. Obviously not been able to switch on that Lamborghini like the 2 Veloce boys have been able to. Yeah, very strange. Well, that goes to show what it does working in a team of 2 can do for your pace. You can share different ideas, go through different bits and pieces in the setup phase, and maybe that's paying dividends for Luke Whitehead and Aidan Walsingham. Not to take anything away from them if they're not, because obviously they're performing very well together. What I have noticed though, I think Luke Whitehead's really raised the game of Aidan this season.
Yeah, I mean, say for a little while it did kind of feel like Whitehead was kind of just out on his own, wasn't he? There wasn't really anyone able to sort of bring the fight to him or be a support. But yeah, Aidan Walsingham has absolutely sort of rocketed his times this season round. And again, he is, even if he's not necessarily taking the wins away from Whitehead, he is being an absolutely fantastic teammate in the fact that he can match the kind of pace and he can provide sort of decent, sort of defensive and blocking driving as well. A teammate can make a massive difference over the space of an entire season.
He's the Valtteri Bottas to the Lewis Hamilton that we saw of 2020.
Oh, there's a bit of a mistake there, I think, from Whitehead. He went a little bit deep. We did see him on the grass.
Oh, very sportsmanlike behaviour from his teammate there. Didn't lurch for the inside. Managed to hold on to that position. He will come under threat though, Tim.
Yeah, I think now might be the chance. He's close enough and he did have a little bit more exit speed, so Aidan might go for it. He is looking a little bit to the outside. Worst thing that can happen here is that they touch and they are super, super close as they come into the turn. They have both just about made it through. I don't think they could have really got much closer if they'd actually tried through Stowe there.
That was absolutely fantastic. They were literally 2 metres apart and they managed to hit the braking zone spot on and didn't hit each other in these wet conditions. I mean, that is absolutely nuts. That's why they're teammates, that's why they're part of the Veloce team. Fantastic driving from both of them. And what reserve from Aidan Walsingham not to dive for that position after the slight incident from his teammate. That's what it takes, I think, to get yourself a podium place, maybe even a win today. He seems really quick today, Walsingham. Seems almost a little bit quicker than Luke Whitehead. Surprises might come today.
I think it actually wasn't it lap 1 last time round where Aidan and Whitehead did get together and have a little bump? Was that turn 2 at Mazzano? So maybe there was a little moment there where he thought, oh, I could throw it up the inside and go for that, and then thought, hang on a second, I'll do it 2 weeks in a row.
No, yeah, I don't think you could you spare yourself the disgrace in the team Discord for another week.
No, so all's fair in love and racing, but you do have to be fair with it, don't you? And you do have to kind of just think, hang on, it's better that we come second and third overall, rather than possibly second and then absolute dead stone last. Because you never know the damage you're going to do to someone's car if you have a small touch. It might only be the smallest of touches, but it depends where you end up after that touch. Oh, Ciata then putting in the fastest lap of the race again, improving.
On fire, isn't he, Conrad Ciata? Almost untouchable in that Porsche. We'll see how the pit stop phase goes for him, if it has any benefit or offset for him. We'll see. Looks like that was Luke Whitehead, possibly, or no, it was obviously Walsingham behind, calling the tyres offline there. Not surprised. These boys running so close to the limit on that tyre pressure. As soon as you get a bit of heat from the follow, you need to go offline to cool those tyres down. Surprised we haven't seen more this afternoon actually running offline. With the higher tyre to cool down those tyres, but no, looks like everyone's got it spot on. Maybe Luke was pushing, wanted to get a little bit of that tyre temp down.
A nice little battle going on, and this is for 14th place. This is Santima versus Gert Fischer. Well, actually, he's just managed to get the move done. Through goes Santima. Oh, and the battle for 15th place going on. Huge braking zones being abused there.
You can't even see on board. I don't know how these guys do it. They're using their windscreen wipers. They must be actually on board unless they've left it just on automatic. But you can tell some of the drivers who don't use the onboard cam because their windscreen wipers aren't going. But these boys all are. But you can see the square root of not much from inside these cars with this rain level. On board with Abe Santima. Just got passed by Gert Fischer, I think. Was it for 14th?
Yes.
And still holding on to the little train they were following. We were on board just before we jumped down with Jards, who was getting incredibly close to Nicodem, looking for a move. Puts his car inside that little window where you can see from the rear view. Didn't quite threaten at all Nico. Nico stayed line astern, didn't move on the braking. Jards was slightly offline, so would have sacrificed a little bit of a corner exit speed, but he's still right behind him. Definitely the faster driver then. Jards looking to get himself up into 4th place and possibly even threaten the other Veloce boys. That's what he's looking for, isn't it? I think he's stuck behind Nico at the moment with very similar machinery, but Jards looking the slightly faster driver. His best time slightly faster, 10th faster than the man in front. His last times was also much quicker than the guy he's trailing. So yeah, Jards looking for a place to move, maybe even looking for a mistake. And he'll be behind, past Nico, I'm sure. Let's go on board. Down the hangar then. It's exactly the same car. It's almost impossible to find somewhere to make the move. Those Veloce boys are actually closing in on Ciata. It was 1.3, it's now 0.9. 9 tenths is it. Gone down 4 tenths in the space of less than that many laps.
There's some big penalties has just rolled in. This is obviously involving, this is a lap 1 incident. And this is between cars 46, 52, 72, 73, 97 and 112. A 35-second time penalty and 4 licence points. And that is for car number 97 of Frederick Gutmann. And that is responsible for causing a significant avoidable collision at turn 1 that resulted in contact with 5 other cars. Christ. Ouch!
Yeah,
4 penalty points.
For turn 1, lap 1 incident. I mean, yeah, it's tough this season. I read on the grapevine as well. After 10 licence points, you're excluded from this season. So There's going to be boys knocking on 10 licence points by the penultimate race, I'm sure. So we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, Gutman getting himself half of his pocket full of licence points. There you go. Here's what we wanted to see. Oh, it's not what we wanted to see. Samir Foch has disconnected. I thought he was in the pit. It showed pit on my screen, but no, he's disconnected. No more racing then for Samir this afternoon. Must have had a whoopsie. He is out of the running. Jards has dropped back from Nicodem. Not too sure what's happened, but he was right on the gearbox, and now not so. So it might have been a little incident that we missed when we were going through those penalties.
I think it was a bit of a bad line. Exiting Aintree, he just looked like he was a little bit wide for the apex and thus lost a load of speed at hitting the Wellington straight. And from what I could see out of the corner of my eye while I was reading out that information a moment ago, but it did look like he just didn't quite get to the apex and it just killed his exit speed.
Alejandre, I'm just going to call him Alex Herbs. Herbie, the 1-2-3, currently following Arthur Pattett. He should have called himself the 63, it would have been better, wouldn't it? Is it 63 or 53, Herbie? 53?
I actually don't know, to be honest. That sounds awful that I don't know that, but I'm
pretty sure it's 53. Chat, go on, I think it's 53. Anyway, Herbie is in P13, chasing Pattett for a position here. He was really close. Or she, I don't know. It's a female and male name, it could be. So we'll just say they, and we'll be very 2023 about it. So yeah, Herbie is chasing down 12th place from Arthur Pattett, the number 49.
Ooh, bit of a slide from the BMW. Gert Fischer behind.
Where's
Got
Gert?
a little bit unsettled there and got onto that green AstroTurf, and the car just let go. He did manage to hold on to it.
Where are we at the moment? We're still on board with Gert Fischer. Still being threatened by Abe Santema. Really wants that position back. We saw it change around earlier on. Herbie just ahead. Arthur Pattett not under threat. He was though. But there we go. What's going on towards the top end then? These two boys still squabbling. Teammates going at it. When was the last time we had a teammate battle in motorsport that required a lot of looking into? I guess it was, oh God, probably Rosberg and Lewis. I can't think of any other teammates. Maybe the Toon Alpine boys. I'm going into Formula 1 again, Tim. Sorry, hide away. Any teammate squabbles you can think about in touring cars and other bits and pieces you're interested in?
Not so much squabble. No, not really. It's been pretty good. You always get a couple of teammates take each other out in touring cars. That tends to be the way it is. It always, it used to be back in the day a little bit more squabbling between teammates. It used to be the two top drivers would be on one team, but they both hated each other, sort of thing. But no, recently it's been pretty good. To be fair, there hasn't been too much squabbling.
Linus says Toyota and WEC. I could see that. Ferrari and Monza this year. Yes, 100%. That was fantastic to watch. Toyota and WEC. Well, there you go. I'm not up to speed with that. Is it still Buemi? I know there's probably a Japanese driver in there as well. I don't know the current WEC outfit. Should we have a look? WEC Toyota 2023. Let's have a look. Let's see who the team is. I have no idea. Do you have any? I have no clue. Who are we?
On that one, I'm afraid.
Kuumi Kobayashi. There you go, Kuumi. Got Mike Conway, Sebastian Ogier. No, that can't be right. Oh, okay. It's going into rally as well. I did put WEC. Never mind.
No, Sebastian Ogier is racing. He is driving one of them. Because he was at Spa this year. Yes, because he was having a lot of issues. Because obviously, rally cars have a massive slip angle, don't they? You kind of have to slide the car through the corner to be as fast as possible. But then I'm pretty sure he was struggling on some of the corners where obviously his car had absolutely zero slip angle. You had to just be at full grip the whole time. I think he was throwing the car in a little bit in sort of some damp weather, expecting it to be able to slide through, and it wasn't quite as manageable as he's used to, I don't think. Oh, Jardier into the pits, obviously deciding to back out of this battle, thinking it's better to get himself some clean air.
Of course, 6 drivers for a WEC team, and there's 2 cars. So there you go. You got Mike Conway, Kuumi Kobayashi, Jose Maria Lopez, Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley, well there's a blast in the past, and Rio Hirakawa, I can't pronounce that, Hirakawa, I think that's the one. There you go. Brendan Hartley. WEC, where Formula 1 drivers come to die. I jest. But it's good that they all go over to WEC though. At some point, it's good if you've got a favourite, you've got a favourite driver that you want to see, go and cut it with the big manufacturers. It's really good to see those drivers giving it a go. Didn't Alonso give WEC a go for a season? I think he did. Did the Daytona?
Definitely rings a bell with me.
Yeah, he got Daytona. I think he won Sebring. I'm pretty sure he won Le Mans.
There's a big change coming up this season. It's been for a very, very long time now. I think since 2018. Raffaele Marciello, GT3, he is a sort of a proper Mercedes driver. So sort of takes part in the Mercedes GT3 car all over the place. This is his last season with Mercedes AMG. He is no longer an AMG driver, so he is now officially ended that stint. And I don't think he's actually sort of said where he's going yet. So whether he's staying in GT3 and going over to a different brand, I'm not sure. Bit of a shocker because he's very much at the top of his game. I think he's won pretty much everything this year when it comes to a GT3 car. And actually, it was just this weekend his final race at the Macau GP, that track, the street circuit.
It's great, isn't it?
It's amazing seeing GT3 cars there. They're just ginormous for such a small track. I'm kind of glad it's not in ACC because it would just be horrific to try and commentate on because I don't think it'd be very clean.
You'd know he is in the pit. Yeah, you wouldn't know where you were, would you? It would be incredibly hard to shout about. But yeah, I mean, it's only GT3. I guess you could do it. I mean, why not? You could put it in the game. I don't think does it form part of the... I don't think it forms part of the series, so why would it be in there? I don't know. Anyway, I know it's on the WEC calendar, but yeah, Macau, what a funny one. I know there was a fire, I think, in the F3 or F4, whatever they run there. No crazy crashes like we've seen of before, which is good news. Good news. Luke Whitehead is getting quite close to Conrad Ciata, threatening for position. You're right, Adam Walsingham in the pit. Let's see if this pit stop offset is anything to shout about. Whereabouts did old Jard's pit from? It was quite far up, wasn't he? I think he was in 4th. So there's the yardstick we're looking for. I know there were others that came in earlier.
It was 5th, wasn't it? He pitted from 5th place because he was behind...
Nowicki, yeah, you're right.
Yep. Yeah, Nowicki, and then it was the 2 Lambos, and then obviously Ciata at the front.
I can't find him. The old timing screen's gone for 10. We'll come back to that then. We'll come back to those pitters. Can't see where
Jards is in 27th place at the moment.
So where did Aiden come out? Is he actually in 25th? He is. That Jards just behind him. So there you go. That is the offset. So Jards has got to really work hard to try and close down. I think he might be able to get into 3rd with that early pit. So it might get himself past Nowicki. Whether he can get past Luke and Conrad, I don't think he will because they're just flying off ahead. But we'll see. Obviously, Aidan Walsingham's gone in to try and do that. These two are going to go long. No, they don't. Luke Whitehead has to pull the car in. He knows how strong the undercut is. He might lose position to his teammate, pushing it all the way to the wall in the pit entry. Jeez. Luke Whitehead then coming in. Conrad Ciata goes round for one more. So does Nicodem. They don't want to come in and pit just yet. You've still got 6 minutes on the good side. So, yeah, some people forcing the pit there because of the early pit stops, especially those teammates. Interesting.
I do think it needs to be mentioned that Luke Whitehead was really, really gaining on Ciata over that last lap. So I do wonder if that was also possibly a sort of a strategy of I am better to get in, get the pit stop done rather than lose time on the back of Ciata. And so he might come out in a bit of cleaner air. The only issue is a lot of cars have done this early pit stop. Loads of cars into the pits now just before the halfway point. The issue is he might come out into more traffic. It was just him and Ciata for this entire time. You know, lots of clean air essentially, and now suddenly he might find himself in amongst a whole bunch of back markers that he's not going to want to fight his way through.
Yes, I think so. Guys saying the stream's buffering slightly. I can quickly stop it and lower the bitrate, might help. I'm not too sure what else I can do, guys. I'm sorry.
Goes to car 86, and 15-second penalty and 2 license points goes to car 69. Yep, car 69. And that's car 69. Kristen Posen's caused a moderate avoidable action to be taken place as a racing incident. So a few penalties starting to roll in. And possibly going to see Ciata come into the pits. No, he doesn't. He stays out. He's obviously going to push past the halfway mark and keep trying to go. So Ciata's last lap was a 2:07. And if we can compare that to Luke's, Luke actually hasn't done a flying lap yet.
Right, we should be back. I did do a quick little restart, so apologies. If it went off, it would have gone off for everyone, and it should be able just to restart. So yeah, we'll hopefully be a little bit better with those frame drops. If not, there's not a lot I can do about it mid-race. We'll just have to go through it, unfortunately, and work our way through.
Well, I did continue to talk.
I heard,
and
yeah.
obviously completely forgetting that it might not actually have gone out. So there's been some more penalties coming through. Basically, loads of more lap 1 incidents. Big load of license points thrown out to people, so you should see those times appearing in game at some point.
Yeah,
but I won't go into it all now. We won't waste any more time going back through all of that again. At the moment, though, the main thing to take away is that Ciata, I don't know why I keep saying Kevin Ciata. It's not Kevin Ciata. It's Conrad Ciata, is still in pole position and as of yet has not pitted.
Yeah, I'm still experiencing a bit of problems on the stream. I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it, guys. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to go with it, and hopefully it rides itself out. I mean, I checked the stream, I checked the internet speed, nothing's changed there, so I don't really understand why we're having stuttering. We've not really had it at all season, so I'm just going to ignore it. There's nothing else I can do about it to fix it. I just have to hope it improves towards the end of this race. Anyway, Conrad Ciata then, holding on. At the moment, what are the chances do you think Luke Whitehead's going to be able to undercut here? This is the main question, isn't it?
I was trying to look at lap times, and we haven't actually seen... Oh, here we go. Now the lap times are coming through. So Whitehead and Walshingham, they both did high 2:06s last time round, and Ciata was doing a low 2:07. But he is showing that he is down on his lap. Oh, he's in. He is in. I say he was down on his lap time, but that would explain why it was looking so much lower as he was slowing down before he crosses the line. So this is going to be the real thing to keep an eye on, is whereabouts. Where is Luke Whitehead? Oh, he's just coming through the loop now. Oh, this could be a close one, to be fair. It's really going to be a case of just how efficient can Ciata do his pit stop, I think.
It looked like he got to his stop pretty well. Didn't look like he's going to have any, issues with that. Obviously, Luke Whitehead's absolutely pushing the hell out of that car. So we'll see if he's managed to edge that gap. Aidan Walsingham, after that pit stop phase, has just drifted off. Unfortunately, the pace has fallen away. So here we go, coming through the start-finish straight is Conrad Ciata being released. That's the big question. We'll look to the right-hand side. It's going to be right on the exit. There's Conrad Ciata then leaving the pit sideways. And here comes Luke Whitehead. Oh, just about holding on to it. Conrad Ciata having to concede that place then. His tyres are going to be cold too, so he might even drop back a little bit further here. Incredible stuff. Luke Whitehead managing to pit that Porsche out of the pit. What a team effort that was from Veloce. Good stuff. Obviously, fantastic pit stop from Luke Whitehead. I think that was the undercut there. Being shown for all to see, eh?
I think that just worked absolutely perfectly for him. I say, and now this is where Aidan can really, really make a difference as a teammate. If he could just find the pace to catch up with the back of Ciata, and that will almost lock down this race for just a quick one. Fastest lap of the race just been put in, of this half of the race, by yards. So that car absolutely coming alive in the latter half of the race.
Well, it's whether Luke Whitehead can hold on to it, whether he's got enough pace in that car to be able to do it. That's the main question. whether the car will hold on. I mean, he came in not too early. He should be able to have the pace in that car to hold on to that position. But obviously, he was really knocking on the back door of Comrade Siata to try and get the position. So I think Luke might hold on to this for a little bit longer than we think. I'll be interested to see how long, though.
Another penalty has just rolled in as well. So this was another lap 1 incident involving car number 45, 60, 73, 81, 183, 214, 217 and 901. And it is a 25-second penalty for car number 214 and 3 licence points. And that is Van Thielen causing a moderate incident.
Shame.
So contact with 6 cars. But I think it's going to be a bit of a thin grid next time round, isn't it? Where are we next time? We are at Zolder next time round. I think there's going to be a fair few cars that are not able to qualify.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the problem. You know, all of these incidents all add up, and yeah, we're going to have an issue going into the next race, and I'm sure that's probably going to be the issue for the rest of the season. We're always going to have some people on quite a few penalty points, but there you go. Luckily, it's not these boys fighting out at the top. Well, let's have a look at the running order then. At the moment, then, we think it's Luke Whitehead in the lead, obviously. Because Warner's out there at the moment, but potentially the lead. Luke Whitehead from Siata, from Walsingham, then from Jardier, then Podens. But Podens obviously got a 15-second time penalty. So Herbie then in 5th place or 6th place back there. I think we've got some people coming in the pits now. Warner's still out there, so is Loverink.
Oh, actually, here we go. I can tell you why Kristen Podens is causing a collision again on lap 1 against car number 23. So picked up 2 licence points for that one.
Gotcha.
We did actually say that it should be a 20-second penalty that I am looking at, but I can only see 15 in-game at the moment.
Might be they're going to add on a few more seconds. Not too sure you can do it in chunks of 20.
Yeah, I think you can only do it in chunks of, I think it is only 5 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, it's kind of a weird. I add the times in. Oh, drive through there for DeBons. Car number 19, running in 15th place. And a stop-go penalty for Kurt Fisher as well. That is absolutely savage. That is the worst kind of penalty you can pick up realistically.
I think that's been on the board for a few laps, actually, the stop-go. I know that I've seen one on there, but whether that's been there for a while, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's it's almost pack up and go home. Oh no, I'm looking at the stop-go and the drive-through from DeBon, stop-go from Fisher. Yeah, it's almost pack up and go home, isn't it, really?
It pretty much is, especially on a shorter race like this. When the 90-minute races, sometimes you can make a little bit of ground, but on the 60-minute sprints, it does tend to be a little bit more catastrophic. And just for everyone at home, just a little bit of a reminder: Chris Warner and Loverink are currently in 1st and 2nd place. It's a bit of a replay from last time round, isn't it? Yeah, I think we should be able to do a swap. I will need a little bit of time to get myself set up, as everything is currently set up for Tier 2, not Tier 1. But yeah, I will give you a shout. So if I go a little bit quiet for a minute or two, just doing some behind-the-scenes bits and pieces. So fingers crossed, this should be up and running already. May need you to keep a little bit of a confirmation on that one. Hopefully it should still be going.
It looks like you're in control, yes.
Ah, fantastic. Well, there we go. We are up and running. So apologies to everyone at home. You know, sometimes it happens. We have little internet wobbles, and that is just the way it is. I get them just as much as Rage does. And it can be highly annoying. But here we are. We're living in the moment. We're trying our best and doing what we can. So just going to sort my screens out, as I was in no way ready for that in the slightest. There we go. Right. Where do I need to be, Rage? Tell me what you want on the screen. Let's do this. Because at the moment
you're on board with Chris Warner at the moment, if I'm right.
Oh yes, he has now completed his pit during that period of time. So let's jump on board with our leading boys. Currently Luke Whitehead, car number 55. Currently, this looks like it's Maggots and Beckett's at the moment, flying on through. He's managed to break away from Ciata, who is still being hunted down by Walshingham, to be fair. Looks like a little bit of extra pace has been found by Walshingham. And just lurking in the back of the shot, you can see Jards as well. So certainly with 20 minutes left of the race, there is no time to have a breather.
Definitely not. He's been hunting them down. He's been sharking for a while, trying to get into a place where he can get the move done. So yeah, Jards definitely a threat for those top boys at the moment. So we'll definitely keep an eye on what Jards can do, because he's a bit of a worry, I think, for these top guys. So we'll see if he can put the worries on these guys going into the latter end of this race. He's definitely got some pace on the back of Walsingham. He's definitely been getting closer. Definitely getting closer. Since he got past Nicodem, it's been all systems go.
Bit of a hot battle going on, I think, a bit further back. This is Josh Waring, and is that Jimenez? Car number 46 and 112. Oh, a mistake from Jimenez going too deep, and immediately the position is regained. So off goes Josh Waring. For a brief moment, there was a glorious battle going on, but it was a fleeting moment, sadly. Look now, look, Christian Podens, who is sadly now obviously running with that 35-second penalty. So there we go. It was actually just that 20-second penalty that we saw. Hadn't actually come into play. But Chris Warner all over the back of him and actually looking for a move on the inside. Can he get it done? It's going to be down through Brooklands. Yes, he can. Car number 11 squeezes on through and takes away a place. And it looked like it was.
Good to see Warner threatening again after what happened in the last race. Up into 8th place for Warner then. He's slowly been working his way through. He did the later pit strategy, didn't he? So he should be fast for these next few minutes. Loverink's still out there, look.
Yeah, still can't believe they haven't pitted yet. That is a really, really long time to go. I mean, it's wet, so I'm trying to look at his times. I mean, he's up on his time. Somehow he is up on his time. So he's not slowing down whatsoever. Let's have a quick jump on board with Loverink. I will quickly apologise to viewers at home if some of the liveries aren't working.
Sure.
That is definitely a me thing. That is on my end, just because I usually don't actually broadcast this bit. So sometimes some of the tier 1 guys that have pesterously, given us their liveries late, I haven't put all of them in. Most of them are there, and some of them I just can't seem to get to work. Jards is one of those liveries that I don't know how to do it. It's just being a pain. So I haven't bothered. But yeah, Loverink obviously enjoying some pole position time, even if it is, just in the meantime. But to be fair, it's got to be said that Luke Whitehead is definitely reeling him in. He's nearly 2 seconds a lap quicker at the moment. So the Veloce Esports boys having an absolutely great race. And it looks like both of them are going to end up on the podium, as long as nothing too crazy happens. But this is AOR, and it's wet, and it's Silverstone, so anything crazy can happen.
Usually does as well, mate.
It really does. I mean, you've only got to look at last week to look how incredibly mixed up everything can get. And so how you think the race has gone isn't necessarily how it goes in the end. I'm going to shout it out because, I love the Mercedes. Herbie doing really well. Now inside the top 10, and he's obviously going to gain a position over Podens as well. Great to see the Gina Lisi esports team That Mercedes AMG inside the top 10. Fantastic to see.
It's been quite a mainstay of AOR Tier 1 so far, the Jean Lacey Esport team. We've had a good 3 or 4 drivers that have managed to knock on the door, which is very positive for the Jean Lacey team. I wonder how much input Jean has in all of this. Do you know Jean Lacey, XF1 driver? Used to race for the likes of, God, Benetton, I think.
He used to race for God, did he? That's pretty impressive that he actually raced for God himself.
That's Ferrari in the 90s. Definitely Benetton. Can't think of any others. Maybe a stint at McLaren? Can't remember.
It's a name that does ring a bell, but I can't put it together. I'm just jump back on board. This is the battle for 12th place between Kevin Niles and Santima. So this is Aston Martin versus McLaren. It's very, very wet, but a little bit of a mistake we've seen there from Niles, and that has opened up the taps for Santima. We might see something here into Stowe. He was all over the back of him as they exited Maggots and Beckett. He's just dropping back ever so slightly. This definitely seems to be the closest for on track at the moment. Just over 15 minutes of the race left.
Interesting, Jards are still reeling in Walsingham slowly, but it is still happening. Chris Warner, 10 seconds exactly back from the wiki, that's funny. But yeah, Jardier is slowly reeling him in. And also, Adam Walsingham is slowly getting onto the back of Conrad Ciata, so we could see a real flurry for the final positions on the podium this afternoon, right at the very end. But Jards has got to really concentrate and knuckle down and get inside that second. Once he's got inside that second, it's almost like a hurdle, isn't it? You've managed to get yourself over, and then it's all on. And it's all down to whether you can get the moves done on track. So yeah, interesting. See if Jards can get any more pace under his belt. He has actually dropped back a 10th there, unfortunately for him. But yeah, a little bit of work to do for Jards.
It can be one of those things, isn't it? Like sometimes you feel like you're quicker when you're chasing, but once you get to a certain point and then you're close, then it starts to become a problem where it's kind of, you want to get past, but then you're going off your racing line and you're trying to sort of like work out what's going on. That's when you can lose time. And then again, it can be the thing of if you are then passed, really hard not to go defensive straight away. And unless you've got outright pace to absolutely tear away from the person you've just overtaken, it can be a real problem. And this little battle that was going on for 12th place seems to have opened up. Kevin Niles seems to have resettled the car a little bit and seems to be making a little bit of headway.
It's always so hard, isn't it, when you're being chased viciously by someone to kind of get back into the groove. You've really got to concentrate, get out of your head, haven't you, almost? You're like, right, I really need to put in some good laps, need to open up this gap, need to break that toe, and it can be really tough. The more you think about it, unfortunately, the worse it gets. You almost have to just like let go and just get back into that zone where you can put in the time. Jards has actually found himself that 10th that he lost earlier. So close, knocking on the door of inside of 1 second. Walsingham kind of doing the same thing on the back of Ciata, who is a little way away, unfortunately. He was anyway from Luke Whitehead. Yeah, just over 2 seconds. 1 second, 1.1 second for Jards, bouncing around that 1 second mark. Not quite there, unfortunately, for the top boys.
Just jumping back
with
photo
finish.
Jumping back with Gert Fischer having a huge detour. I think that's Maggots and Beckett. Not sure what's happened there. He's come. Oh, I think he's trying to avoid getting any track limit offence. He's pretty much coming to a stop before rejoining the circuit, or maybe just waiting for a decent gap. But well played by Gert Fischer there. Made a mistake, but he did manage to hold it all together and did not get anyone else involved in that. So that is exactly the kind of racing we like to see. A bit what you were saying.
Nightmare today, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not going his way at all. But what you were saying about having someone behind you as well. I mean, it's a bit different here in Tier 1 because you know the quality of the driver around you should be of a pretty similar high standard. But especially if you're racing somewhere, it might be the first race of the season or the first time you've come across a certain competitor or in a public lobby, God forbid. You do find those moments where you've got someone behind you and you're thinking, I can get away from you and I can do this, but you're panicking the whole time that the driver behind you is going to, miss their braking point and clip you because you don't know what quality the driver is behind you. And then that can almost make you slower again because you're looking in your mirrors, you're thinking, oh, is that person braking? Are they going to hit me? Oh, car number 24. I think that was a return to pits. What happened there? I'll see if we can jump back and get on car number 24. I can't even see where they were.
They were off. Weren't they miles back? I can't see where they were.
I've lost car number 24 somewhere on the timing grid. It's too many numbers to look through. I think they've actually completely vanished from my timing boards, but they are definitely in game still. Oh, that was Rashanov. So what happened to Rashanov? We're trying to go back 30 seconds, but it wasn't quite far enough. We saw him off the track.
I can't quite see either.
I just missed the 30-second. It took me too long to find him. Damn, these chubby fingers of mine. Couldn't quite get there in time.
I'm going to see if I can jump to the replay and see what happened to him. Number 24, wasn't it? What lap were we on? 22. Let's see if I can do it for us.
Just waiting for the lap. There we go. Now we're back up to where we should have been. And here we go. You can actually see Whitehead now catching up with the back of Lovering, who still hasn't pitted. And as I say that, he jumps into the pit. So there we go. Whitehead now taking official pole position. Oh, car number 9. That, I feel like, is a big number. And I feel like we've seen car number 9 a fair few times with a yellow flag as well. That is Ashe. So we'll jump back with them. And there's that lovely white McLaren. So I think this is coming towards Aintree and into the Wellington Straight. What's happened there? Oh, over-rotates the car. Big spin. But does manage to hold it together and does not actually get any damage. So lucky break there. Could have been a...
Rachel had a mechanical. There's a hardware issue. That stopped the car completely. Seems to be no throttle input at all. So either he's literally blown the car up, or he's got a hardware issue with pedals.
There is
throttle input's going up, but nothing going on with the car. Weird.
Car number 78 has also now come to a complete stop. So lots of drivers towards the end of this race having issues. That's Gert Fischer again. That was Gert Fischer again. What has happened there? And he spun in the exact same place. But he does make contact.
I can't quite see what's happened with him, bless him.
Yeah, I think that was the same place again. I think that was Aintree onto Wellington Straight. Oh, and he double spins. I think we're trying to keep pace going on the grass. Ends up having another incident. Does manage to rejoin without causing any further incidents beyond that. But yeah, not great. Double impact. It is quite nice when you're up on the helicam because you can see the kind of slip angle of the cars as they go through the corner. And if you we're watching on board now currently with Conrad Ciata, and you can see Walshingham in the background, and you can just see the way that Lamborghini slides through the corners, especially the sort of the more flying corners, the high-speed ones. That car is definitely not maximum grip. It is using that slide to try and gain some pace. We might be able to see it here from turn 1. We're on the helicam above Aiden as we speak. Again, this is one of those flying corners. It's a deep breath and hunky your underpants and hope that the car grips. So he throws it in. Ooh, goes out onto the slippery stuff. Holds it together though. And Ciata looks like he's just... Well, actually, yeah, big improvement that last time around. Ciata a 206 compared to a 207 from Walshingham. So that's made a big old difference in time. I did think for a little while that maybe Ciata was going to get caught short before the end of the race, but now it's looking like maybe it might be Aiden that gets caught because looking like Jards all over the back of him.
Yeah, Jards has picked up that pace. It was was over a second, but I think Aiden's been struggling with that car, getting it up to scratch. But Jards, yeah, definitely pushing on and able to definitely get a little bit closer at this part of the race. Like you say, it might be just that car's starting to come alive a bit now. He's dropped quite a lot of his fuel, almost all of it to be fair, and he's hunting down a little bit of Lamborghini for the podium. So it's, yeah, third place is up for grabs for Jards. Oh, right out onto the running strip, going down the Hamilton. Incredibly close, almost loses it. Is that the Hamilton? I can never remember. I think it was, yeah, into Cops. Yeah, incredible bit of car control there.
I'm really surprised at the amount of sort of use of the grass we're seeing from the Lamborghinis, especially for those cars that are running barely any or if any traction control. Oh, big slide there as he tried to hold it together coming through the loop. Is this going to be the chance for Jards? Can he do something? He definitely looks closer than he's ever been. It's 0.6 between them as they come into the braking zone here. Thinking about it as well, Walshingham did pit before Whitehead, so maybe it might be a case of those tyres just starting to show their age a little bit. And it's only been half an hour, and those tyres realistically should be able to go a full hour. But when you're pushing this hard and in these kind of situations, and with such fast boys around you as well, you are working those tyres to the absolute limit.
I was just looking at my Silverstone map there that I just quickly, hastily added on. It's like, it doesn't look like the current Silverstone map. I think I was using one from like the 80s. It looked completely different from where it really should be.
I know.
There we go.
There is
the new one now.
There is a weird thing, isn't there, where one of them doesn't have... where is it? It doesn't have club. Or like Vale and Club, that area. A lot of the maps you can find online just show that as, rather than being sort of that 90-degree turn, they sort of show it as there's a nicer version, shall we say. One of my favourite moments actually from Silverstone, I've got to say, was probably a year or so ago, doing a sort of a big charity event with some friends, doing some racing, and we heard this almighty bang come through our headphones in the Discord chat, and then suddenly one of our friends, Mr. Mike Tucker, just yelling, "I've got no brakes, I've got no brakes," and he basically went from full throttle from Vale and ended up sort of just hitting the wall the other side of the Hamilton Straight, and somehow didn't contact anyone as his load cell completely sheared off in his brake pedals, and so he had no brakes whatsoever, and he went from full throttle to just absolutely flying, managed to avoid everybody and everything, and ended up in the wall. But yeah, absolutely no brake pedal left at all. So yeah, that was a bit of a funny one, but the bang was so incredibly loud, it made everyone jump out their skin. It was a bit like the ACC shotgun that you hear, but it was in real life.
That's really. What was the bang? Was it just his load cell exploding?
Yeah, the load cell literally sheared off of his pedals. It was so loud it got picked up on his stream as well. It was absolutely monstrously loud. So essentially his pedal just went absolutely to the floor, and obviously then he had no way of actually pushing the load cell down to trigger the braking in game. So that was just it. And sadly that was the end of his race. It was an endurance race here at Silverstone.
It was almost like Max Verstappen, where his brakes blew up when he was doing an endurance race on iRacing. If anyone OGs remember that. Yeah, his brakes completely exploded, and they managed to get the car on the grass, and they managed to trailer it back to the track, back to the pits, and get another driver in. And yeah, it was the load cell just completely blown up. I guess it's got only so many presses before it's like, no, I want to be something else now, not a brake pedal.
I think it was almost the point. It's almost like the pivot point where the bolt goes through. I think it had just worn and worn and worn, and eventually, yeah, that was it. Obviously, had his pedals wound up for maximum realism, and much like in real life, had a mechanical failure. So that was the end of that.
It does indeed happen.
This battle for 11th place is still definitely going on. Is it
really?
Yeah, it's still really going. Oh, in fact, this might be the time that actually changes. But as we just exit Maggott and Beckett's, that's car number 444 and 14. Santima and Niles, and no, I tell a lie, the Aston Martin recovered with its absolutely monstrous straight line speed and managed to pull it away. But with less than 3 minutes of the race, I think Santima is really trying to push forward, and they are, the pair of them, catching up the back of Avalay, so they might both get themselves sort of just around the top 10. They can keep pushing as hard as they can, but they've only got 2.5 minutes left to do it.
It's so much better in the braking zone, that McLaren. It just pulls up onto the back of the Aston Martin, and then the Aston Martin stretches its legs, and that's it, it's gone. It's so good on the exit corners and down the straights. It's very hard, but the pickup on the acceleration is much slower. As he comes offline, there's Santema looking for a place. It's really hard to get it into this little section. He might be able to push it. I don't think he will. Might have a go down the Wellington. Let's see. Not quite there from Santema.
Just hanging on to the back of him, but again, he is closer than he has ever been as they come down towards the penultimate turn. Can he do something under braking here? It's going to have to be a hell of a lunge. And it is a big old lunge. Closing up. Oh, how many car lengths did he take out of him there in the braking zone? He's got a few turns to get it done. I think he's going to have to do it before Maggots and Beckett's. He's going to have to try and throw it in and hope it sticks. They Ciata now
not long to go.
No, not long to go. Minute and a half left. So whereabouts is Whitehead? This could be it. Maybe. Yeah, this is going to be it. I think this is going to be the final lap because he's only about halfway round. He's got a minute left to go. Santima did not get the run through turn 1 that he would have wanted, and that gap has opened right back up. So barring a mistake. Oh, we're saying barring a mistake. I think there was a mistake there from Niles.
I think you're right. 52 seconds to go. Only going down the Hamilton now, I think. Or are we?
Yeah, I think that was just past the Hamilton through Abbey. I will make sure definitely. I cut back on board with them. Oh, car number 78 is slowed in front of them. Whether that car is getting out of the way for the leaders as they're coming through.
Oh, a little spin. That was Gert Fischer, I think. Spinning out the way, holding the brakes, definitely. Poor Gert Fischer.
It has not gone his way at all this weekend, has it? It's just not been his race. Right, we're going to jump over to the leaders. We're going to leave this battle for a minute, and no doubt the overtake will get done. But we're on board with Whitehead as he comes home to bring his 4th podium finish of the season. 4 races and 4 podiums, and this will be his 3rd pole position. Absolutely just savaged this season, hasn't he, already?
Absolutely munched it, hasn't he? Yeah, that's
Here he
got
comes
himself another 100 points.
There he is, across the line. Fantastic effort. We'll jump back to Ciata as he crosses the line as well. Fantastic effort from him. Aidan Walshingham in 3rd place. Jards, comes across in 4th. I mean, what a finish for the for all the oh god, I've forgotten the name of them now. Veloce Esports guys. That is absolutely fantastic for them. Kristen Poden's just coming across the line, but obviously he was running in 8th, but he is carrying a 35-second penalty, so that is going to see him tumbling down the order, and we'll see that post-race, no doubt. We'll see the timing sort itself out. Let's see if we can jump back on board with that battle.
He's just coming across the line now.
Yeah, there we go. And Santima did not get the move done. Niles managing to hold on to it.
I don't think there is actually anything very close, and I think that is it for round 4. Well, I'm sorry about all of the technical issues we had through that session, not going to lie. Halfway through, the stream literally ate itself. Well, there you go. Unfortunately, not really much we can do about it. But yeah, cracking session for Luke Whitehead.
But we persisted, and that's the important thing. We kept it going. That's all that matters. The show must go on, as they say.
So where did we finish then in the end? Look, Luke Whitehead then with all of the points. Conrad Ciata in 2nd place. And then Luke's teammate Aidan Walshingham managed to hold on to 3rd. Wasn't able to threaten Luke Whitehead like his teammate. Sorry, threaten Ciata like his teammate could. Jards got past Nico, but didn't quite have enough to put threats on to the back of Aidan Walshingham and finished just a 2nd behind. Well, there you go. Fantastic race all round. I don't think there's any standouts there that did fantastically well. I mean, Niles came home in 11th place. Good points for him. Herbie in 9th place. First time we've seen them on the grid. So yeah, that was a good start. We did have a few, few people finishing, not finishing the race and disappearing. But yes, more crazy stuff from Luke Whitehead. That's the main thing there.
Yeah, it's just complete dominance, isn't it? Once again, we're seeing it. It's just endless, isn't it? He just doesn't seem to be shaken in any way, shape, or form. He just keeps going and going and going in ways that we've, well, I say we see it nearly every season now, don't we? It's becoming a bit of it's almost a running joke, isn't it? Who's going to win this time round? It's usually going to be Luke Whitehead. There is no shame in it whatsoever, though. He is just so unbelievably quick. It's just pretty ridiculous, isn't it, at this point in time? I am just queuing up a bit of a nicer interview screen, but I do just need a little moment or two just to sort that one out.
It's all good. It's all gravy. It's all good. Well, thanks for the guys who stuck with us through unfortunate times we had on the stream. We lost almost half the viewers during that, so apologies. I mean, if you want to go back and watch it, it fixed itself from about 15 minutes towards the end. So yeah, with the help of both of us. I don't know if we've got anyone in for a chat just yet. Lots of people in the Discord apologising in turn one. No, I'm sorry for all of the drivers that get caught up by my incompetency in turn one, says Frederick Goodman. No excuse for such a mistake. I apologise for everything I did. Well, there you go. 4 licence points. But yeah. Oh no! Noel Hatchie said he put him on dries, and he didn't realise before pitting. So that would be why Hatchie was having problems and was off all over the place, because he pitted with the dries. Got the dries on, didn't change him, unfortunately. Hatchie coming out and having to have a bit of a disaster. Right, are you ready, Tim? We got Luke ready for a chat.
Okie dokie. Right, we should be cutting over to a much nicer to look at screen, and hopefully everyone can still hear us, and there shouldn't be music piling out everywhere. But let's drag him in, shall we? Luke, it's another dominant performance. Absolutely fantastic effort from you this evening, and a great finish for the team. Talk us through how that race went for you.
Oh, well, first off, good evening, Rage. Good evening, Tim. Hope you guys are doing well. Good to be back in here again after my hiatus last week. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say it was dominant, really. I mean, I had a lot more pace in the locker at the end, for sure. Like, I could have easily pushed for a low 206, could have pushed for a purple a bunch of laps in a row, but I decided not to. But, Conrad's was very, very quick as well. And Aiden and Jards as well were all very strong. And obviously, Nikodem Sobchik got the fastest lap. So, the top 5 were pretty similar. I know Sobchik's pace kind of dropped off. I reckon he probably killed his tyres a bit. But, the pace amongst the top 4 was pretty even. And it was all done on that strategy. I think without the strategy, I maybe could have got past Conrad, but it would have been a much more difficult job. And we were fortunate that he kind of was a bit late to react, I guess, with the pitting. We came out just ahead, and then it was just clear from then on in. And much more plain sailing than last week was, that's for sure.
Do you think if he pitted directly after you probably would have come out behind him? Because it was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to say, because there's so many different factors at play, with regards to where people come out. But I think if he'd pitted 1 lap before he actually did, so 2 laps after me, he'd have been ahead. I'm not so sure about 1 lap. I don't really know what the pace differential was like, but it would have been close either way. So I think he was just 1 lap late to pit. But I mean, I think I would have got past him anyway that lap anyway, because he'd have come out just ahead and my tyres would have been up to temperature already. So, it's impossible to say. It's impossible to say because, as I said, there's so many different factors there to consider. But I think for sure once we pitted early, we kind of had the upper hand then. We kind of put Comrades under a bit of pressure because obviously, we were on fresher tyres, on lower fuel, so we're always going to have a bit more pace. So, yeah, it's good strategy call, good pace, had a lot more pace in the locker, as I said, so a lot of positives there. And considering I didn't have a lot of prep coming into this one, had a lot of stuff going on, is another big positive, to go into the rounds with. So, as I said, coming back from last week as well, very unlucky race for myself. Managed to come back and, a 1-3-4 for the team is very positive. So, but GG's again to Conrad, Aiden, and Jards. Great drive from all 3 of them. They kept me very honest.
And just touching on last week, obviously, having the cardinal sin that is making contact with your teammate, obviously wasn't yourself, it was your teammate that made contact with you.
We had it twice, yeah.
Coming back through, and obviously having a few, touches and knocks and, threatening for the podium, and then obviously having that little touch again towards the end. Is there points there where you just thought, oh God, I'm just going to give up?
No, not at all, actually. I mean, I knew the pace was really good from practice and from quali. Obviously, we qualified on pole by a fair margin, and I knew my race pace was extremely strong from practice. And then obviously to get taken out was unfortunate. I don't hold anything against Aiden because, again, it was very 50-50. It wasn't blatant from him. It wasn't like a huge error. So it was really close. Both of us could have done more to avoid it. And obviously that knocked me back down the field. But I kind of knew, as I said, that the pace would be really good, especially if it rained. I knew that in the changeable conditions, I'm generally quite strong and my setup was strong. And we showed that coming back through. And then obviously we were fighting for the win really there. And then obviously the collision at the end was just a lot more severe, but it made me a lot more angry. But I mean, as I said, like I showed my pace and I showed my speed. It was just unlucky. You can't have them all go your own way. And again, we still got a podium because people in front got disqualified for the quali ban situation. So of course we still got a podium, which is a positive, and we still gained on yards in the championship, another positive. So we really kept the damage to a minimum despite everything that happened. So. But yeah,
Not
as I say,
been
like,
off that podium all season so far, so that's
touch
incredibly
words,
good.
touch words.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it to think that it could have and maybe should have been 4 wins already is a really positive thing. And again, like obviously Conrad's had a really unlucky race. I think if he hadn't had that situation last race, he'd have won it at Mazzano. So he's been up there as well. So he's been a very strong competitor also. But again, still very happy with how the performance has been, not just for myself, but from the team also.
Yeah,
So
good stuff.
It's all very good.
Thank you very much, Luke. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Congrats on the win number 3. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again before the season's out. And I think we're going over to Zolder for next time. So yes, we'll join you. We'll join you then.
All right. Take care, boys. Have a good one.
Speak soon. Tim, we'll jump up. Oh God, it was Conrad, wasn't it? Then Aiden. So let's jump up Conrad Ciata and have a little chat. It's the second time. We might as well touch on a little bit of the Mazzano woes, eh? But anyway, I'll drag him up now. Off you go.
Good evening, Conrad. Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. Great race for you this evening. The only person to put a Porsche anywhere near the top. Absolutely fantastic qualifying as well. Obviously, you did eventually lose that position to Whitehead during the pits. Talk us through this race, and we have to have a bit of a talk about Mazzano as well, because you were doing so fantastically, and then suddenly it all just fell apart, didn't it? At a blink of an eye. So talk us through a bit of both.
Yeah, I think at Misano I could be P1. Maybe not easily, for sure. I wouldn't say that. But if my PC wouldn't crash, I think I was in a safe position to get first win, I think, due to Luke and Aiden crash at T1, as I remember. And then today I was just praying to for my PC, if it will be stable again. I think I need to buy the new power supplier. I think there is a problem. But today, luckily, was everything fine. First of all, congratulations to Luke. The pace was there, and to Aidan for P3. They are maniacs, like driving TC off all the time. It's insane, and congrats to them. I think I got the pace today, but I pitted too late. I think if I would pit it a bit earlier, like a lap after Luke, maybe I would win. But the overall pace was great, and the car was very stable and pleasure to drive. And it was fantastic. I was on 3 warnings. I think like 40 minutes to go. So for a long time, I was like not pushing fully, but like 98%, let's say. But I managed and take the P2. So
fantastic result. I mean, it's the people you're surrounded by. You're looking at Walshingham and you're looking at Whitehead. There are 2 drivers that understandably so high up, and you are very much standing shoulder to shoulder with them, doing absolutely fantastic work out there. And say it did look like in that first stint when you were sort of battling against those 2 that you were really pushing your luck with the old track limits at turn 1. So I'm not surprised you picked up 3 quite early on in the race.
Yeah, it was like weird because I cut the track like a bit 3 times, and I lifted there. Actually, I lost a bit of time, and it was track cut, but I guess it's KUNOS things like so.
ACC things. We've all fallen to that one. There was quite a lot of that in Mazzano last week as well. I think lots of people complaining about the pit entry and picking up drive-through penalties for that for some reason. But be across the different tiers. But an absolutely fantastic effort from you this evening. A great wet weather race once again in the Porsche, proving that you can definitely take that thing swimming. But thank you ever so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, and have a good night, guys. And thank you to all the supporters and everyone who's watching. Thank you.
Well done, comrade.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Right, good stuff. Well, let's jump up Aidan Walsingham and have a little chat about how his race went. So, Aidan, third place, possibly we're even in the shot for a second place finish. We were saying during that race how having Luke Whitehead as a teammate has really helped you, get real close to that top end. And at some point, especially that first stint, I think you were actually faster.
Yeah, it's nice having Luke as a teammate. I mean, he's quick. You can learn a lot from having a quick teammate because you can, share information, share data, have conversations, and yeah, just find the room for improvement. And first in my head, I think I could have won, but I just made far too many mistakes to deserve it. A and B even execute it. So yeah, so P3 is pretty much the best I could have done realistically. It was really, really tiring to drive in the spray for a whole hour.
Yes. It
Really
looked
tiring.
incredibly hard to almost follow like that, We were watching from, the onboards and it looked almost impossible. There were parts as well going down, I think, I can't remember what corner it was now, but I think it was going down oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, you were neck and neck with Luke and so close behind, only about a metre from his rear bumper, and you guys managed to hit the breaking points, lap after lap. How hard is it to do that kind of thing? How well do you have to know your teammate's driving style to be able to get into that kind of rhythm together? Because you can't normally do that with, a normal, I guess, public lobby enjoyer.
Well, it really helps that we're running a very similar setup overall because we both know how each other's car is going to behave. But
Mhm.
also, there's that respect, and you don't want to be the one to end your teammate's race at all. You don't want to be the one to make the contact. So, breaking that little bit earlier and uh, weaning off of it earlier, you can run quite close to the car in front and still capitalize on it. If he makes an error, I'm there ready to pounce. But ultimately, I don't want to ruin his race. He doesn't want to ruin mine, and we both
Yeah.
wanted to get in front of Conrad. So
Well, you saw that from when he had that mistake in Maggots and Beckett's, and I think any lesser a driver or someone who wasn't necessarily a teammate would have probably put the car in a position where it would have compromised Luke's chance to get through Beckett's in the fashion that he did. Is that the kind of thing that you expect really from teammates as such to kind of like rival competitors in different teams?
yeah, it's like if it's gonna cost the both of you a lot of time and there's no guarantee of the move sticking, why even chance it? Because Conrad, after that error, Conrad was already out of the draft for Luke. So if we'd lost any more time fighting there, Conrad's got a comfortable 2.5 second lead from us, and it gets we are the ones under pressure at that point. He just has to put the laps in and relax. He doesn't have us, catching up very quickly. But keeping that gap under 2 seconds meant as soon as he made a mistake, we're straight back in the slipstream and can reel him in again.
And it's easy to make a mistake in those conditions, like you say. Ridiculously tiring in that wet condition. It looked like your car was always a handful too. Like the rear end of that Lambo, although it may be, like you say, you said to us previously, is one of the pros of running that car with the TC, how it is. It's how it drives fast. Surely it's so stressful to constantly watch the rear end of that car.
I mean, even in wet conditions, we're still running TC off because that's
It's nuts.
how you drive it fast. You have to run it without traction control. And I mean, you saw that even on exits, Conrad had so much traction, and I didn't check if he was running traction control as well. But if we run traction control, we bog down on the exit. There's no chance at all for us catching up. So it's a compromise. Had to make the setup safe enough to run TC0, but it's also kind of nice because in the wet you can sit the car on the rear axle and use the rear axle to get around the corner, which makes it more fun.
Yeah, it's just you're dancing on a little pinhead of death on that
Yeah,
rear
that's it.
axle. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys did really well. I mean, yeah, a good position finish for the team. So yeah, good stuff. Veloce doing the business again, mate. But well done. Good podium finish. Good points. And you'll get him, mate. Honestly, it might take a few more, but you'll get him. The pace you had in the first stint, like I said, you were easily the fastest driver. You just had track position on you. But yeah, do you think it was something that went on during the pit phase or afterwards, something to do with the setup, or just wasn't kind of coming alive as quick as you thought it would? Because you said you had mistakes. Sorry to keep harking back to the mistakes, but you said you had a few
No, it's
mistakes.
cool.
Is that what kind of like that was it? It was done after those. You couldn't get back.
The undercut not working was like mind game gone. I didn't think he would react to me going into the pits. I thought he would like
Oh, we
really push and
did.
get past Conrad on track, and he just like reacted box straight away. Like he's smarter than that. But that was like episode 1 of the mind games, and then seeing how he still extended his gap boxing a lap later.
Hmm. I
'Cause
don't
think
think
he'd
the one
gained like
lap.
3 or 4 tenths in the pit stop. I had no idea how he did it, and then he said on voice chat afterwards he almost got a penalty in the pit lane. He got very, 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 very close to the limit.
He did. He got incredibly close to the pit wall, so I think he came in very quickly. So yeah, maybe it's the pit stops that did it for him. But I mean, the pressure's off when you see your teammate pits behind you. You're like, right, I really need to put in the good laps. I don't have anyone following me. I don't need to be, careful with my lines or anything like. As in, like, I don't need to defend at all. I could just really concentrate on hitting every braking zone and extend. So maybe that's what it was. But I mean, look, just looking at the car around you, Ciata came in. I think if he came in the same or the lap after. Like you guys did, I don't think Conrad would have been able to. I think Conrad, would have kept position because Luke only just got him. It was touch and go. So yeah, maybe the undercut just wasn't as strong with the weather condition as it normally is in the wet. But hey, look, anyway, we won't dwell. It was good, and yeah, keep up that pace, man. It's only a good thing having that guy as your teammate because. Yeah, you can see it in your driving, how much quicker you've become. And it was a shame about Pisano. Move on from there, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the top step anytime soon.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
No probs, buddy. We'll see you soon. Thanks for the chat.
Cheers.
Bye.
There you go, guys. Oh, hello. That was 1, 2, 3 for everyone in the chat to go through the race. Guys, thank you for those who stuck around. I know a lot of people have dropped off. And for those who have joined the VOD, apologies for the connection and the stuttering that we suffered this evening. It was completely random and it happened in the middle of the stream. Nothing I can do. Never mind. Tim, where are we next time? We are tomorrow for Tier 2, aren't we? For the same thing, but with the Tier 2 boys.
Yeah.
So Silverstone Racing.
Possibly slightly different weather, might not be. You never know. It does change on the night. So it was we've seen different weather every single race this time between Tier 1 and Tier 2. So fingers crossed, we might get there might be a little bit of mixed conditions. Not sure. Who knows? But we can only hope for a little bit of mixed conditions. Although probably going to be absolutely wet 'cause it's Silverstone, and that's just what Silverstone does. Silverstone things. Pretty much. And then next week, Monday and Tuesday, obviously for Tier 1, then Tier 2, we are at Zolder. That's another 60-minute race. So that is going to be 60 minutes of absolutely suspension-destroying, wheel-puncturing, brake-shattering, curb-strike hell. For probably most of them, as we all know how awful the chicane is there, how bad the curbs are at Zolder. So going to be an interesting one next week as well, I think.
You've got a fantastic layout of nationalities in your split. You've got an Italian leading the championship quite comfortably, almost by 100 points, 90-odd points. You've got a Seychellian in second place, which is fantastic, Mr. Jones. And then you've got Kazluskas, the Lithuanian, an American in fourth of Jonathan Clifford, and then 3 Brits shouldered by a Frenchman. You can't make that up. But there you go. If you want to join the Tier 2 stuff, hop on tomorrow at 7:30 for another go round for Silverstone things. And then for the Tier 1 next week for us, we'll be in Zolder. Is it Belgium? I think that's Belgium, isn't it? Zolder for hopefully some dry running and some better connection with no issues. Thanks a lot, guys. We shall see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
It's Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. Road change now. We go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action. It's go.
This is very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course.